as they head and power their way down into turn one. Hamilton gaining all the time. Vettel blocks him off on the inside. Hamilton goes round the outside and swoops into the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix.
5-time world champion of the Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton is a Formula One racing driver. Still I Rise is Lewis's trademark, which is emblazoned on the back of Lewis's helmet and tattooed across his shoulders. But in this video, we aim to find out whether or not a hair transplant was the cause of his locks rising too. Having started his driving career at just 8 years old and winning his British Kart Championship at just 10, Hamilton has been dominating Formula One since his debut in 2007. A question that has been asked by many is, did Mr. Hamilton have a hair transplant? Well, here's a quick shot of an interview with a young Hamilton, aged 21 in 2006.
It's a fantastic achievement for myself this weekend and for the team. You know, we've worked very hard in pre-season testing.
We can clearly see some thinning on the hair, starting with frontal hair loss. This is an early sign of androgenetic alopecia or male pattern baldness, and probably puts him around a 2 on the Norwood scale. Male pattern baldness is thought to be caused by a sensitivity to DHT or dihydrotestosterone. DHT is created when the 5-alpha reductase enzyme attaches onto the testosterone hormone. DHT then attacks the hair follicles and leads to miniaturization. If you're personally worried about your own hair loss, you can click the link in the description to take the HairGuard hair loss quiz, and you'll receive free, expert advice on how to reverse it. It is entirely possible that if Lewis caught his hair loss early enough and started a comprehensive hair loss treatment plan that involves things like microneedling, alkalizing the diet, using natural caffeine-filled shampoos, regular relaxation, and using some topical solutions, his transformation may have been natural. That being said, world-leading IAHRS.org surgeon to many celebrity patients, Dr. Scott Alexander commented, "Lewis Hamilton's hair has most certainly gone through a dramatic change for the better in recent years, and likely he's been the recipient of a very good hair transplant and using medications such as finasteride to help prevent further loss. Many patients wish to have surgery and be discreet about it, but the fact remains that his hair went from 0 to hero in a very short period of time, which is often a telltale sign of a hair transplant surgery," says Dr. Alexander. It's worth mentioning here that finasteride has been known to cause a whole host of unwanted sexual side effects, such as lower libido, weaker erections, and other disturbing things. We don't recommend these harsh chemicals at HairGuard, and instead we recommend a natural approach, which we will outline for you in a bit more detail later. One of the issues with a hair transplant is that the procedure doesn't always go well. 2 major side effects of a hair transplant, according to a 2014 study published in the International Journal of Trichology, conclude 42.47% of hair transplant patients suffer from post-surgical edema, which is a buildup of fluid that causes swelling. In addition, the same study found that 23.29% of people suffer from sterile folliculitis, which is an uncomfortable, itchy kind of rash or scarring as seen here. Now, throughout Hamilton's early career, he was often seen sporting shorter hair instead of the long curls seen in the previous videos. It disguised his receding hairline much better than longer hair. Hamilton often spends a lot of time in the public eye, and often other celebrities of Lewis's caliber often do end up getting hair transplants if they're suffering from hair loss. His endorsements run into tens of millions of pounds per year, and he has to look his best. The reality is, all of a sudden, he was seen around 2015 rocking some new long locks. It can often take around 18 months for a hair transplant to reach its potential, so it's highly likely that he had his hair transplant somewhere between 2013 and 2014. Just judging by the images and the fact that Lewis has so many public appearances, it's very likely that Lewis has had a hair transplant. So what things do we think Lewis is doing now he's had a hair transplant? Well, the first thing that we think that he's doing is alkalizing his diet. As the 5-alpha reductase enzyme that attaches onto the testosterone hormone to create DHT and those that are sensitive to DHT are thought to suffer with hair loss, the first thing that Lewis could do is alkalize his diet. This makes it more difficult for the 5-alpha reductase enzyme to survive, and it creates a less than optimal environment, so therefore less testosterone should convert into dihydrotestosterone. Also, it is recommended that people who go through a hair transplant should do 1 or 2 microneedling sessions per week. Now, we've already done an in-depth guide on microneedling, and I'm going to link that for you in the description, and you can also claim your free derma roller by clicking the link in the description. We also recommend that Lewis starts using natural shampoos that contain chemical-laden products are thought to cause hair loss and just completely annihilate your hair. So using a natural, chemical-free shampoo is going to be an excellent thing for Lewis to do. Lewis is probably also doing some kind of regular scalp massage and using a combination of scalp elixirs to ensure his hair transplant wasn't a waste of money. Now, what's important to understand is that unless Lewis addresses the reasons why his hair fell out in the first place, his new hair could just start falling out again, meaning he will have to undergo another procedure, potentially wasting tens of thousands of pounds. Now, we hope you've enjoyed this video on Lewis Hamilton's hair. Do make sure to hit subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you.